Hey everyone, I'm your parents from a teenager. My presentation today about digital library. What is digital library? The digital library provides viewers with engaging means to explore the fascinating world of math, both contemporary and vintage. The image depicted allow a deep dive into the history of each of the featured maps along with audio narration in several cases. Knowledgeable and motivated viewers will also be able to make their own contribution to the site. As a site contributor, I highly recommend participation on the part of others. Technical Architecture Library. Library-oriented architecture (LOA) is a set of principles and methodologies for designing and developing software in the form of reusable software libraries contained in a specific ontology domain. LOA provides one of the many alternate methodologies that enable the further exposure of software through service-oriented architecture. Library orientation dictated the ontological boundaries of a library that expose business functionality through a set of public IPs. This approach promotes good software engineering principles and patterns such as separation of concerns and designing to interfaces as opposite to implementation. Building digital collection. In in particular, participants will work with the library interface, a flexible graphical user interface designed for developing and managing digital library collection. Attendees do not require programming expertise. However, they should be familiar with HTML and the web and aware of representation standards such as Unicode, Dublin Core, and XML. The software has a pedigree of more than 2 decades, with over 1 million downloads for SearchForge. A design and implementation of the original software to take better advantage of newer standards and web technologies that have been developed since the original implementation operating in Java. The software is more modular in design to increase the flexibility and extensibility of the software design. Through the hands-on particular exercise, participants will, for example, build collection where geotagged metadata embedded in photos is automatically extracted and used to provide a map-based view in the digital library of the collection. Copyright or right management. Instead, they will have to develop machines mechanisms for managing copyright me- mechanisms that allow them to provide information without violating copyright called right management. Some right management functions could include, for example, first, usage tracking, identifying and authenticating users, providing the copyright status of each digital object, and the restriction on its use for the fees associated with it. The last, handling transactions with users by allowing only so many copies to be accessed, or by charging them for a copy or by passing the request on to a publisher. Preservation. When considering digital materials, there are three types of preservation: one can refer to. First, the preservation of the storage medium. Tapes, hard drives, and floppy disks have a very short lifespan when considered in terms of obsolescence. The data on them can be refreshed, keeping the bits valid, but refreshing is only effective as long as the media are still current. Second, the preservation of access to content. This form of preservation involves preserving access to the content of documents regardless of their format. While files can be moved from one physical storage medium to another, what happens when the format Adobe Acrobat PDF containing the information becomes obsolete. The last, the preservation of fixed media materials through digital technology. This stand on these issues involves the use of digital technology as a replacement for current preservation media such as microforms. Thank you. See you on my next presentation.